Welcome to a playoff edition of the Sip and Swish podcast. One of our co-hosts, Lucas McLean, is with his lovely girlfriend Margie in the majestic island of Puerto Rico. So he will not be joining us for this podcast, but your boy, Nick Reed.
I'm always here.
Always here, Mr. Reliable, we call him. And myself, Jason Stoltz, will be walking you through these, first couple games so far. It's been overall like a really, really fun beginning to the playoffs.
A lot of emotions went on in the last couple of days, especially since I had a few adult beverages Saturday night. So Sunday, when I was trying to watch all the games, it was rough. It was rough.
I can honestly say I've watched at least a part of every single game so far, and other than like the 10:30 tip-off games, I've watched the entirety of all the other games. I'm a dad, as you know. I've got gray hair. It's getting
games.
Tough, man. It's getting tough to like. I get through halftime. I get like maybe 4 or 5 minutes into the third quarter. Eyes get heavy.
Yeah, no, you would have to drink like coffee or an energy drink to stay up for some of those games.
One of the few series so far that's had a game 2. Philadelphia 76ers versus the Miami Heat.
Ooh.
Obviously, this is the one that I'm most focused on for many reasons, but truth be told, because I'm a Sixers fan. So Sixers stole the weekend with a 130-103 smashing destruction of the Heat. I was high on them. Everyone was super stoked. I couldn't believe that they were getting more love than the Pacers were getting after upsetting LeBron. We'll get there. But then last night, the Heat come back in game 2, no Joel Embiid in either, and win 113-103. I've got tons and tons of insight and thoughts, but Nick, why don't you kick it off? What's going on in this series?
So, cover game 1. You look at it the first half. The Heat came out strong. They were leading at the half.
They were.
And then
by 4 or 6, I believe.
Yeah, it was nothing big. And then the second half, Philly their offense clicked. Everyone was hitting shots. And then you fast forward to the game that happened yesterday, and it was the most infuriating thing I think I've watched in a long time. That second quarter, and I was with my buddy Dave, and we're sitting there like, how is this still the second quarter right now? Because they just kept fouling everybody. Like, that was the Heat's plan. Just get a foul. But I think the big thing in this series, at least on the Heat side, Hassan Whiteside is just not like, they don't even need to play him because he just does nothing.
Well, it's going to be interesting when Embiid comes back.
Right.
Because then
he has a chance to play.
I think they'll play him. I think they'll play him a lot, to tell you the truth.
But he played 12 minutes in the first game. He's just in foul trouble. He's averaging like 3 points and 4 rebounds. It's just nothing. But last night, the Sixers couldn't buy a 3. Just nothing. Wide open looks. Bellinelli in the first quarter, I was like, all right, we got this game in the bag. This is easy. I'm not a Philly fan, but I gambled on them last night.
I was going to say, explain why you're saying we right now.
I was like, come on, boys, we got this. I have a lot of gambling on the 76ers this year.
Break down your Sixers bets. Let the people know.
So I have Philly going to the finals, and then Philly versus Houston in the finals. And then I had the bet last night that Philly was going to win by like between 7 to 9 points, which they obviously didn't.
They did not. I have refrained on betting any individual Sixers games because I want to just get to watch them just as a pure fan and, a lover of the team. But I did bet the series would be 4-2 Philly.
Okay.
And I'm still feeling pretty decent on that.
And that's what, before I bet last night, I was like, I feel like Miami's going to come out hot. And they were defending the 3 just insanely. But I think what got you guys was Dwayne Wade. The man couldn't miss.
Grandpa D. Wade.
The Flash.
That is the slowest flash. That's like a flash with like a 5-second countdown. You know how sometimes you get that?
5.
Where it like does the like little mini flashes and then boom. Like that's D-Wade today.
It is.
But while he's smoking my team, so who am I to talk shit?
But the thing was, and I keep coming back to this quarter, was the second quarter that's all you guys lost. Other than that, you won every other quarter.
Is that true? I didn't actually know that.
I mean, it was by 3 points in the third, 1 point in the fourth. But you guys got outscored 34-13. That was bad.
So to put this in a little context, my viewing experience, we were celebrating my stepfather's birthday last night.
Oh, happy birthday.
You don't need to say it to me, but thank you. And
I know he's listening.
Well, he is. He subscribes. And we're all over at my place. My mom brought dinner, so like we didn't have to cook, worry about it, whatever. Long story short, the game starts going south in the second quarter. And my girls are asleep, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm just losing my mind. Like, absolutely losing my mind. I'm the basketball fan in my family. They're football. And I love football. But I had to keep saying, like, guys, this is like when the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. Like, that's why I'm acting like this.
It felt like a finals game to me.
It did. And from the tip, from the first possession, you could see like the passion, the focus. It was a fun game. As much as I was beyond despondent, I told Nick earlier, I literally turned my cell phone off the moment the game was done because I didn't want to hear from anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I needed some me time to grieve.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I texted you. It was like, this just ruined my day. And then I was like, okay, he didn't respond to me.
Yeah. So within that context, I was watching the game last night, and basically here are my thoughts from game one to game two, like what happened. So number one, D-Wade.
Just
he really went off, and he's clearly still capable of doing that, and he's kind of done it to the Sixers already this year. Yeah, he finds ways to channel a younger D-Wade, but that's just a component. That's just a component. Robert Covington, who I love,
sucks.
Kind of shot us out of that game, man.
If he hit 2-3 shots, you guys are right there.
Right. It would have been a completely different affair. But instead, here I'm pulling up his box score right now.
It was awful. There was that one play.
He was 3 for 13.
And he didn't hit a three, did he?
1 for 9.
1 for 9. Yeah,
one for 9 from 3. That is literally shooting our team out of the game.
There was 1 3 he took, and I can't remember if it was in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, where he just gets the ball. It's a fresh shot clock, maybe 3 seconds off.
Oh, it made no sense. I know.
And
exactly
he just jacked it up with a guy in his face, and it just was short. I believe Simmons caught it, and Simmons or Dario or someone like that was underneath.
Simmons caught it, and then he went to pass it back out, and a Heat player tipped it, went out of bounds, and then it was just an out of bounds play.
Yeah, but I was so mad at Covington the whole time. And then you guys went on this run in the fourth quarter where I'm like, okay, we're coming back. We can do this. And D-Wade stripped the ball out of Dario's hands. It was Ilyasova?
I was seeing red at that point.
D-Wade strips it, goes down the court, layup, dunk, and I was like, that's it. That was the
dagger.
Deflator.
Yeah.
It deflated everybody on the team.
Because the crowd had gotten back into it. So as I was watching the first game and thinking about it leading up to last night's matchup, I realized that was basically the best we could ever hope for.
Right.
And I knew it before last night. I did not come into last night's game expecting that by any stretch, or expecting, I should clarify, like a replication of what we did in game one. I mean, we had Ilyasova and Bellinelli and Redick just draining threes.
Just everywhere.
I mean, basically at an all-time high rate. It was super efficient. You can't expect to hit threes like that every game.
And this is the big thing where without Embiid and you guys slow to this halt of offense, there's just like Simmons can drive, but he doesn't create his own shot. He doesn't shoot the ball.
Right.
And that's a big – there's no one on there like besides Bellinelli and JJ who are just going to shoot. There's no one really creating their own shot.
He wasn't quite as sharp in game two. I mean, he didn't have a bad game.
No.
Almost got another triple-double. But
he was fantastic.
He wasn't quite as sharp as game one, and I think maybe the most significant difference was the pace of play. Game 1 was all about get a rebound,
Go.
You fly down the court, find the open man, make a great pass, maybe make a second pass, hit the three, or get a layup.
And like I said when we did our East playoff predictions, Spoelstra is he's the key factor in this series, and he figured out what he needs to do against this Philly team, and he just brought them to a halt while his offense, through pretty much Dwayne Wade, just flourished. And Simmons, I loved the way he played. I did, because there was a few times where I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? No, that's not smart. But he really plays with the attitude that he's like an 8-year player.
Yep.
This is his 8th year. He finished that game, they're like, okay, we lost, but we got to go to game 3. I love that. I've been talking about this the whole podcast today. Just the way these young rookies and the young players, their first playoffs, are showing themselves and like showing their stature. You look, Towns is like kind of not really doing anything.
Right, the opposite.
And Simmons is out there like, I'm getting a triple double. I wouldn't expect that out of Simmons when the year started. But
right,
now
no.
I'm just like, all right, you guys could do this. The East is weak. This is your year.
Yep.
To start.
And I don't know, I kind of deliberately didn't read much or watch much this morning. I wanted to come into this podcast with, my own takes.
Right.
So I don't know if people are jumping off of the Sixers bandwagon at all.
Not really. I think it was more just, I think this is a good time to have this kind of loss. Right in the first round, you're playing a good Heat team, but they're not a great Heat team. So then you go into the later series. Well, maybe they'll play the Celtics or the Bucks.
Yep.
But then you're really looking into later Raptors, the Cavs, maybe the Pacers, because the Pacers are killing it. We'll get to that. But you need this kind of loss early in a playoff.
They were on I believe it got to 16, maybe 17, 16 or 17 games.
16 was the most that they were up. The Heat were up.
Oh, I was saying win streak.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
17.
You win that many games, eventually you're going to lose.
Eventually you're going to have to lose.
And so the silver lining, as I've fought inside my brain space to find a silver lining, because again, I mean, I can't remember being that sad over sports in a long time. The silver lining that I've come up with is if we were 2-0
and you go into
Miami and we get Joel Embiid back, we really risked a weird narrative where if we lose game 3 with the return of Embiid, then it's like, oh man, like
Embiid's making us worse, all that.
Right, and no one would believe that in the long term, but just like the short term reintegration of Joel Embiid could have been perceived or could have just actually been a negative for us.
Right.
Now, I'm like, fingers crossed, he comes back game 3.
Oh, you guys need him back.
And then like the whole momentum, which now feels like it's on Miami's side, I feel like that immediately flips the momentum again. It's like, boom, our best player is back.
And like I said, where you want them to play Whiteside, because Whiteside just, I don't know if he doesn't have confidence anymore, because I don't think Spo does. I don't think he has confidence in Whiteside.
Yeah.
They're paying him all this money, and he's just kind of a fun player to watch, and I don't think they ever thought they were getting Dwayne Wade back to be their leader. But Whiteside's just, he's a 7-footer that can sometimes block. Good player, but...
You know who's good and also just physically terrifying? That dude Johnson.
James?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played on the Grizzlies. And his Grizzlies, I think he was also on the Celtics at one point.
He's pretty legit. He hurt us. He hurt us in that game, man.
Last night he shot 7 for 7.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Wow.
That's incredible.
Did I say he hurt us? Because I meant he killed us.
And that was it. It was all these players that were just, they'd get a 3 or they'd get a shot in the paint. I'm like, what is going on? And Philly's defense did look like it just faltered. Like,
yeah.
There was just nothing there. I'm like, why did he just fly through 4 of you guys? And no one just, like, put a hand out. No one, like, got a body in front of them.
And that, to me, especially in this series, is where it starts for the Sixers. If we're not killing it on defense and rebounding, that's how we get, those...
The fast breaks and the...
Exactly. We cannot beat Miami in a half-court set.
No.
If we play them just half-court set versus theirs, they're going to win.
Because not that they're better coached, but they have a more experienced coach.
And a more experienced team, yeah.
Exactly.
And Dwayne Wade, who apparently still can be one of the great closers.
And that might be the one thing, though, is Dwayne Wade, this could be the only game he does this.
Agreed.
He could go in the next
Fully
game
agreed.
and just, they'll be in Miami, so I'd probably give him a chance to do that. But the next time he does this, he could miss 7, 8 shots. And then the game's still in Philly's hands. But we'll see what Dwayne Wade does.
Much to my chagrin, we should probably go on to the next series.
Yeah. No,
I could do. That's what
I was thinking. Like when you're like, "Hey, let's do a podcast," I'm like, "All right, let's do it." And I was like, "Wait, this is just gonna be all about Philly for 45 minutes."
All right, Toronto versus Washington. This was a pretty good game one.
It was, and I'm really sad I didn't get to fully watch the full thing because I was working. I was just hitting tidbits here and there.
Right? Yeah, we were both watching. We both were watching it on Lucas's miniature phone.
Not as small as my phone, but it's not as big as I like.
So, anyway,
glossing over that.
Toronto won 114-106, but what felt like in a game that it felt like it could have gone either way. I mean, Toronto led most of the time. I mean, I don't want to say it felt like a 50-50 game the entire time because it always felt like Washington was kind of catching up, maybe getting a small lead, and then falling back.
The thing was, John Wall wasn't getting a single call. He was driving just relentlessly, going up, just arms his face, slapping his hands, and just not much was happening for John Wall. And I mean, the rest of the team didn't do great. I believe Gortat said that the Toronto fans were so loud they couldn't talk to each other.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, the crowd was so incredibly loud that sometimes we were just passing. We just were throwing the ball towards each other like, you better catch this ball.
That's interesting. I mean, at least to my knowledge, you don't hear about Toronto as being one of those home court advantage cities. You hear about Philly. You hear about OKC. I mean, you hear about certain teams. I don't hear that about Toronto.
I've never. But yeah,
Fear of the North. Damn it,
Fear of the North. And I mean, I went into this before the Philly hype. I went in saying the Raptors were going to win the East.
Yeah, you've been high on them all year.
This is their year, and without Van Fleet, I was like, all right, the Raptors are going to lose game one like they always do, but they finally won one.
It's good for them.
Been 20 years pretty much.
Yeah, that was a long streak. It was 10 games. It was 10 games in which they lost game ones.
That's just insane. Completely nuts.
So, I mean, here are the things we were looking for before this game actually started, and tell me, what you think about them. So, Kyle Lowry, was he going to be just shitty playoff Kyle Lowry where the spotlight gets too big and
he panics?
Did that happen? Did it not happen? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I really felt
he didn't shoot a lot. He only shot 9 times.
Yeah, I think he was just more focused on the defensive end, and he was like, DeMar's going to get the points, Valanciunas, Ibaka, who I sometimes forget's even on that team.
I mean, you look at their box score, and you see the depth. You know what I mean?
They're deep.
And everyone, including us, talked about how would their depth transition to a playoff series.
Right. We were saying, can they play 10 people? Can they play 11 deep? Most playoff teams know, they're 8. That's all they get to.
I mean, dude, here are just the points scored by their players that played any significant amount of time. 12, 23, 9, 17, 11, 12, 2 for Podol, 9, 18. That's a ton of players in double digits or, at 9, 1 point away from double digits.
Delon Wright got 19 points. I didn't even know that.
So far, their depth is working for them. Undoubtedly.
It is good, and it's the fatigue thing where even they make the Wizards go a couple extra players deep, but Mahinmi's only playing 3 minutes, so you have Gortat. So if you have Markieff Morris playing 38 minutes in a playoff game, I don't feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good player. He dropped 22 and 11. But they need bigs. Because Toronto is big. They have Ibaka. They have Valanciunas. They have Podol. They have this... I'm not even going to try to say his last name. He only played 9 minutes. But I want the Wizards to come out with some sort of veracity tonight and just go at them. Just go in the paint, get some fouls on Ibaka, get some fouls on Valanciunas early, and then bring them small. Bring the Raptors small, and they can win a game by going small.
I still think this is going to be a series.
I think so, too.
I think it's going to be a 6 to 7 game series.
I could see it, but I also kind of believe in the Raptors right now.
You're always believing in the Raptors.
I know. For some reason, though, fear the North, a believer.
John Wall was super inefficient. You got to hope that he improves on that. 6 for 20 shooting is just not going to cut it.
But like I said, he goes, he got 10 free throw attempts, but it felt like he should have almost gotten 20. Like he was driving. But that's what I mean. Like he was trying to get those fouls on the big guys, but they just weren't calling it. They're in Toronto. Like there's the home court favorite kind of foul calls.
Tell that to the refs that were in Philly last night.
Oh, in Philly last night, there was no calls going anywhere towards Philly's favor.
So my brother was there. Not to go back to Philly, but that's what we're doing.
I was actually going to ask you. I was like, Jason, if they go far, are you going to be at a Philly game and just like send me a picture and not tell me?
I really hope so. It depends if my bro with the seats invites me, and if my wife allows it. Love you, baby. But yeah, so he was there and he texted me and he was like, dude, as bad as the refs probably look on TV, I can assure you, being here in person, this is the worst ref game I've ever seen. I'm not going to say he's not extraordinarily biased, as am I.
Yeah, no. If your hometown team is going in the playoffs, you're going to be biased. But
all right, you want to get back to...
Yeah, we're getting back strong. I'm just going to gloss over your tickets to the 76ers playoffs, you know? Right. Otto Porter shot 7 times. That's not enough for my third best offensive player.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
I mean, Markieff did well. He shot 15. He hit 9.
I mean, even Oubre, 4 shots?
What about Mike Scott, though? 7 for 10.
Who?
Mike Scott. Michael Scott. You said that. You're like, who is this guy? I'm like, it's Michael Scott. And you're like, what? I was like, he played for the Hawks. I know him because he played 2K.
I only know him from Dunder Mifflin. That's it.
Got that paper company.
Prestigious. So, I don't know. Any other thoughts before we move on? I feel like this series it's an interesting and exciting series for so many reasons. I really hope Washington can take game 2 because I love all the narratives. I love the Wall, Beal, just weird dynamic, the weird personal relationship between each other and them with the rest of the team. I love can Kyle Lowry keep it together for a series? Is DeMar DeRozan legit in the playoffs? There's so much.
It's almost mind-boggling that you look at the East #1 team and the West #1 team, and all the narrative is, can the point guard do anything in the playoffs? Can the shooting guard do anything in the playoffs? Their 2 best players, can they do anything? And that's what makes this year kind of fun because all these teams, like a Washington, could theoretically upset the Raptors. They've beat the Raptors before, 3 years ago, but I would like to see, I think Washington will lose this game tonight, but I think they could take the 2 at home.
Okay.
So I think they can make it a 2-2 series.
That's all I can hope for.
That's all, yeah. And then from there, you're like, all right, Toronto's going to win their 2 home games. But I think once Washington gets home, they're going to win a couple games. I'm excited.
Next up, Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Oladipo Pacers. I'm just going to do a quick pat myself on the back move.
Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it. I'll give it to you.
Because I said that this was basically a pick'em series. And I also said the key player in the series was Oladipo. And that if he somehow could be the best player on the court in any game, they're going to win that game. And I feel like game one really proved that. He was the best player on the court that day.
I'm going to have to blog boy it on this one because, like I said earlier in the podcast, I had a couple
blog boys.
I had a couple adult beverages the night before. By a couple, I mean a lot. And I had to, after watching the Celtics-Bucks game, take a 2-hour nap.
Sleep it off a little bit?
I had to sleep it off. I just couldn't handle it. So I woke up, and I didn't envision this box score happening. I kind of saw it being like 120 to 112, somewhere in that range. Of, probably the Cavs winning because I picked them to 5 in 5. But oh my God, when I woke up to this, like, wait, they just lost by 18? Cleveland scored 80 points. And this on defense, I was like, they couldn't score at all.
Right.
Jeff Green, 0 for 7. Like, what were these guys doing?
It was his worst game as a professional, probably, to be totally honest.
I don't know. Jeff Green's had a lot of bad games. Kevin Garnett was like, oh, he's the next great. And then he just stopped off.
I liked him with the Thunder. I mean, way back when.
Oh, yeah, before was that the trade for Perk?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. That makes sense. That sounds right.
I think it was
timing-wise.
Yeah.
But so I actually bet this game. I bet Pacers money line. So this was a nice win for me.
That's a good win. That was 18 points. Still looking at that.
Yeah, this game helped my pocket the most, and it also helped my podcast cred the most.
Now you look at the post game though, and this is all over social media and whatnot. It's been hashed out, but LeBron, I'm down 0-1. I've been down 3-1. I will be fine. Oladipo, we've been playing this way all year. We're a good basketball team. This is our time. Some paraphrased all that.
Sure, yeah.
But the difference was LeBron saying, this is me, and Oladipo saying, this is we. Like, this is us. This is our basketball team. And that makes me, the Cleveland all year, can this team do anything? You got Larry Nance's first playoff game, Jordan Clarkson in their first playoff game. I know this because they're both Lakers players, and we definitely haven't been in the playoffs. They didn't play great. I mean, Nance played 30 minutes and took 7 shots. I expected him to go in, like go hard.
Yeah.
And Kevin Love got 17 boards. Why did he shoot 8 times? What is this game?
There are a lot of
so
head-scratching components to this game. So LeBron, I believe, didn't have a single field goal attempt in the first quarter, which is just simultaneously mind-boggling and also classic LeBron at the same time.
Yeah.
He just does these things, and no one except him really ever knows the honest reason why. I could guess, but it would just be a guess. One of my favorite things in watching this game, because this is definitely one that I watched start to finish, enjoyed every second of, Lance being Lance. Lance Stevenson, the NBA is better when you're in it. And the playoffs are better when you're in it.
It's better when Lance is against LeBron in the playoffs. And back in the Pacers uniform, too.
Yeah. So. He is so delusional about his skill level and how he can match up against LeBron.
Which he can't.
That his delusions, I think, work out to the benefit of his team. Sometimes. But he literally thinks he can just go back and forth one-on-one with LeBron. And that's like a reasonable thing.
And Lance, I'm going to let you know you cannot do that. Just a heads up. But it is fun. It is fun to watch the blow in the air. Like Lance will do something crazy in one of these playoff games.
He headbutted the post
after that dunk,
the basket. Yeah. That was awesome. He's just, I don't know. He's such a wild card. I absolutely love watching him. But Oladipo, man, he was feeling it from 3 too. And I haven't gotten to watch them a lot this year. My gut is that he doesn't take that many threes normally.
He doesn't. I don't think he takes 9 threes a game. I know he takes a decent amount because they are the type of team that is, you get open, you take that shot.
Absolutely.
Just take the shot. You have a chance to make it. That's the whole point of everything. And I mean, they shot 45%, 39% from 3. The big issue I see is their free throws. They missed 10. and Oladipo missed 4 free throws. That's worrying.
You want to talk about free throws? LeBron James missed 3 consecutive free throws. I know he's had his free throw. I mean, he's never been a great free throw shooter. He's never been able to fix that.
They both shot 60. They both shot terrible from the free throw line. What? They're free. Come on, guys. Play.
I think it's a bigger thing for LeBron, though.
I mean, that's in LeBron's entire career. He's never been like great at free throws, and maybe it's just because he's a monster human being. But I just feel like if you're gonna say that you're the greatest ever, you should probably be able to hit like 85% clip.
It is arguably the only weak point in his resume and in his game. But I mean, think back to the Sixers game I was at, 2 Fridays ago or whatever. Sixers Cavaliers. LeBron got fouled, I believe, on a 3-point shot at the end of the game. If he made all 3, the game would have gone to overtime. And he missed the second one. It didn't even take till the third. I feel like, all right, so you have that combined with missing 3 consecutive free throws in this game. Is his free throw confidence shaky? I mean, it's never great, but
I think the only time he's been really good at free throws, and I could be wrong, but was when they had Ray Allen on the Heat, and Ray Allen was teaching him like confidence in his free throw because Ray Allen's a thug at free throw shooting.
Ray Allen's just a god on the basketball court. I love Jesus Shuttlesworth.
I was going to say that. Damn. I wanted LeBron, and I expected LeBron to have 40 points. I expect him to have 40 points every single game if they want to win this series.
So what's tough is who is going to guard Oladipo from here on out? Because they were unsuccessful. If you ask LeBron to do it, you're asking too much of LeBron.
I don't think LeBron can guard Oladipo.
Whoa.
I don't think he can.
You just made me say whoa in a really weird way.
Whoa. Mostly because LeBron is going to have to be the offense.
Right.
He hasn't been the defense all year. And I've said before, I was like, the flip. Turn the switch, do whatever you got to do, LeBron. Just do something. And I think at this point, they're going to want him more. I don't even know where they want LeBron on. Bogdan? Do they want him on Oladipo? But then you look at the rest of their players. Like, Clarkson's not going to guard Oladipo. JR is just going to be over there doing shots somewhere in the corner by himself. Like Rodney Hood, they just don't play defense. They just need their offense to not shoot 23% from 3. That's it. They're going to just try to shoot him out. I don't think anyone's going to try to guard Oladipo because they can't. They can't guard anybody on this team.
I have no rebuttal.
This is a very negative thing about the Cavs, but it is it's just what it is. They don't play defense, and they're going to go 10 deep when they probably should only go 8 deep. I don't know why Ty Lue thinks that. Why are you playing Jose Calderon 9 minutes? I mean, they didn't even play Tristan. They played him 2 minutes.
Tristan's a basket case right now.
You
know what's crazy? The fact that even after this game, I still think the Cavs have as good a chance as anyone to come out of the East.
That is the incredible thing because that is what everyone's saying, and I still believe it. I think the minute, probably their game's on Wednesday, I think they could win it by like 20 tomorrow or something stupid.
I think they smoke the Pacers tomorrow.
How much are we going to bet on they smoke the Pacers, though?
Depends on the line. Or I could go money line. There's so many options. Oh, I love sports betting. I'm glad that you and Lucas are getting into it.
I'm not glad. I'm losing all my money.
Well,
I got to get good.
Bet better?
Stop betting on the silly games.
All right. Next up. Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, this is another frustrating one for me.
This is probably the series that the two of us see the most differently.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're pretty similar on just about the rest, or it's like a Portland, New Orleans Pelicans series where any reasonable person is going to say that's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I feel strongly that Boston has like 0% chance of losing this series. And
0.
And you've bet on the Bucks to win the series.
In 7. So it'll be close. I mean, I watched this entire game, and it just felt rough on both sides. Just, no one could really score. Giannis was getting all these travels that people weren't calling and there was plays. But it was probably the most fun game to watch at the end. Because I remember Scary Terry hit the 3.
Yep.
And I just go,
With 0.5 seconds left.
With 0.5 seconds left, game is over. I'm just checked out. I'm going home. I'm going to take a nap.
I mean, you can basically see it on the Celtics' faces that they're in
even
celebration
on the Bucks,
mode.
Even on the Bucks' faces, they were just like, ah. And then Middleton's like, all right, just throw me the ball. And I told my friend, I was like, they're going to shoot from like the logo. It's going to be deep.
Yeah, that was a deep 3.
That was deep. He takes it, boom. But Middleton played insane this game.
Yep.
And that was my big thing. Was Middleton, Antetokounmpo need to play amazing.
Was he your key player in this series? I'm trying to think back.
I feel like he might have been. I'm not 100% sure.
All right, fair enough.
It's been a couple podcasts ago, But no, Middleton played fantastic, but it was a sneaky fantastic. At one point, they showed his box score on TV, and I was like, he has 27 points right now? What? Since when?
He's a hell of a player.
He's so good, and that's what he hides through it. But the player that made me so angry was that Eric Bledsoe played awful. And I don't think he should start.
Who starts in his place?
Brogdon.
Okay.
I think Brogdon, even before Bledsoe got there, Brogdon was playing better than him. And, I mean, Bledsoe has the defense, but I don't know if he actually does. I don't know if Bledsoe's a good player anymore.
What's up with Dellavedova getting 0 minutes?
It was he only got healthy at the last game of the season.
Right, and then he looked like trash in that game.
I think his time in Milwaukee is over. I was more surprised that
I guess I only bring him up because he's had success.
He has playoff experience, and that's what I watched this at my friend's Dave's house because that's where I spent all my time this week apparently. But he was like, "Where's Dellavedova? Why aren't they putting Dellavedova in?" And they have Jason Terry's playing 18 minutes, taking one shot. He's not guarding anybody.
No, defense was never the Jets' strong suit.
He's not shooting. So why are we playing him 18 minutes?
Fair question.
Why? And then Jabari's over there playing 15 minutes and he's shooting 1 for 5. And Lucas is not here to defend himself, so I'm going to be like, Jabari's not getting paid this offseason.
No.
I don't understand. Everyone's like, who's going to pay him? I don't know what they'd pay him. You're going to pay him $20 million to shoot 1 for 5 in the playoffs? But Giannis played a fantastic game. And then he got fouled out, which he probably should have fouled out the play before, but there were some questionable calls in that game. Which, it's playoffs. They're always questionable if I'm on the fan of the Bucks.
Right. It was definitely the best game 1 we had. Yeah. Just because of the improbability
that it was going to overtime.
Yeah. It was incredible. I mean, the Bucks really crawled back into it, that 0.5 second 3. And I bet the under on this game, which no one bets the under, because betting the under is not fun. You're just rooting for people to miss shots.
Right.
But I felt really, really confident, and there was 0 scenarios that I would have lost the bet other than overtime. So when that 0.5 second 3-pointer went in, I was pretty sad, and I really had to put my chin up and just remember, hey, you're a basketball fan first. You're a sports bettor second, maybe third. Enjoy this because this is one hell of a game.
And something that I noticed was, so the Bucks offense was pretty much non-existent for 2 quarters. The first and third, they didn't even get to 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to make note of. I mean, Boston's defense is pretty much first in the league. It's them and the Jazz. They're 1A and 1B. Fantastic defenders. But the Bucks need to score points. There was a point in the game where I'm like, this is going to end 85 to 75.
Yeah.
This is so bad. There's no shots are going in. There's no good offense. There's no rhythm. Nothing on either side, too. But the Celtics were getting some threes. The shots that were going in, I was like, where was anybody? Where was someone trying to stop them? And I think that's something that the Bucks have always suffered from. But they got the length to they should be able to stop this.
It goes back to me, to what I had said in our playoff prediction pod, which is this is the best coached versus the worst coached teams in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And I think you saw that, and I think you'll continue to see it more and more throughout the series. Al Horford, to me, was actually the best player in that game. Giannis had a nice game, but Al Horford was good. And he was clutch. He went to the line so many times in crunch time.
He's only missed one free throw in his last 45. That's incredible. Talk about free throw shooting.
Take notes, LeBron.
Yeah. Oladipo.
But yeah, he played phenomenally. This was a great game. I'm totally hyped on this series despite the fact that I know the outcome.
Yeah, Bucks in 7.
Let's start with probably the most foregone conclusion of a series.
Oh, it's the best series. I love watching this. It's
The
great.
San Antonio Spurs just getting stomped by the Golden State Warriors. Anyone that thought KD was going to be feeling some pressure and might slip a little bit during this series.
It's just not happening.
It's not happening. And that was one of the reasons also why when all the dust settled and we got these first round playoff series and seeding, etc., I was a little disappointed with how the West shook out, because if Golden State had OKC or potentially, New Orleans, one of the stronger teams, I think KD might have felt that pressure. We might have had a little more intrigue
it would have been
round.
Way better series, but it's no knock on the Spurs. They're only losing by 10 to 15, but it's just doesn't feel close.
The score is not as reflective of how much of a blowout these games actually are. In reality, when you're watching them, I don't think there's been a 2-minute clip where I've been like, oh, the Spurs could do it. No.
And LaMarcus had a much better game too. His first game, he only played 24 minutes. It was just nothing pretty.
It was ugly. He was getting owned by JaVale McGee.
Yeah, that made me incredibly disturbed, because I just think of McGee as a useless 7-footer. But I want them to win a game just because. I want that Golden State. They might lose. Golden State's looking good.
It'll be interesting to see when it's back in San Antonio if they can pull one out of their hat, steal a game at home. It's looking like a sweep, though.
It is, and it's funny because now the media is just saying, oh, where's Kawhi Leonard? Why isn't he at the games? And it's he's rehabbing or doing whatever Kawhi is doing. We don't care. We want to talk about this team.
Agreed.
Kawhi Leonard's not there. If Kawhi was there, this is a whole different series, but he's not there. Just let it go. Just let it go.
Piggybacking off of that, and quite to the contrary of what you just said, any chance Kawhi is back next year? It feels like this has reached, and I do want to focus on the basketball. I want to focus on the playoffs because they've been amazing. But it feels like it's just irreconcilable between the two sides. You've got Pop saying you're going to have to check with his team,
and then
last
night he goes out and is just LaMarcus is an amazing player. He plays through adversity. He does everything. He plays through injuries. He's just throwing jabs after jab after jab to Kawhi.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I was like, oh my God, Greg, come on.
I love Popovich.
I love him too. And it might be time to I wasn't in on the bandwagon that he's gone, but it might be time to just trade him.
Anything else we want to add before we move on to more interesting series?
I guess just hopefully Steph's back game for the next series.
Yeah.
I really hope he's healthy. Not for my gambling, but just for the league. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, the league is more interesting when Steph is playing, for sure. Next up, let's talk Rockets T-Wolves.
This is the pinnacle of, is this Rockets team really good? Because they were missing everything. And the Timberwolves were playing it perfectly. They were just letting PJ Tucker have wide open corner threes, and they just would give him 15 feet. And they're like, we're not guarding you. Take it. Missed every single one. I've never been more infuriated. Just drive. Just go straight at him. Get the foul. Stop taking these threes. I know it's their mantra to do it, but you're not good.
So this game one was bizarre.
It was.
This was probably the most shocking game one for me out of all game ones. And it was shocking on so many levels. So you had CP3 just basically kind of look like bad playoff CP3, which shocked me. Like game one against a real inferior opponent. And
right off the bat, too.
And he just kind of, I don't even know. It's hard to describe. He didn't look like the same Chris Paul as we had watched all year running that offense.
And it, like I said, it was 2 minutes in the game, and he was already had, I think, 3 turnovers. Like, it was just instantaneous. He was just throwing the ball. He, like, jitters.
He almost lost the game for them at the end.
Yeah, just throwing that ball out of bounds. I'm like, what are you doing right now? And I really wanted I kind of wanted the Timberwolves to take it.
Oh, it would have been awesome.
But then you look at them. Karl Anthony Towns took 9 shots, and Butler took 11. And then Jimmy Butler took arguably the dumbest game-ending shot I've ever seen.
The shot lost the game because it wasn't even a 3-point.
It wasn't even a 3. They could have just been like, go ahead. Why are you doing this? Like, this is fine.
Yeah, their execution down the stretch.
Awful.
Yeah, really not strong. We talked about this a little in terms of their effective play-in game against Denver and how they're just coming down the stretch. They looked terrible, too. It was kind of just Jimmy Butler forcing the issue, Jeff Teague with a little too much going on, and
the worst thing about the whole game, Derrick Rose. I mean, he played well. He got 16 points. He had the most usage on the team. It was like Thibs, like, you're the only player who knows what to do on this team. Here you go. Just go. And he was getting buckets. I was like, oh my God, this is old Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Got him back.
And he was 50% field goals.
Did good. It's just the rest of the team, what are you guys doing?
The thing is, you're not going to win a series, and you're probably not going to win a game with Derrick Rose at this point in his career leading the way.
No. If that was just like Derrick Rose had those, like half the game, they're like, here's the ball, like get us some offense while everyone's sitting. Okay, that's fine. But then you got Cat out there just chilling in the corner. Wiggins just non-existent because I just don't ever see Wiggins on the floor.
He was a little more engaged. I was happy to see that he at least took some shots.
He took the most shots.
But Cat was one of the worst games I've ever seen Karl Anthony Towns play.
And we said it in our playoff predictions where it was Cat needs to do a lot. He needs to be taking almost 20 shots a game, just going in at Capella. I mean, Capella was playing fantastic.
Yeah.
He had a 20 and 10 at halftime.
I was going to say, in the first half, he just owned Cat. It wasn't even close.
But the second half, Capella only got 4 points and 2 boards.
Yeah.
So that was an entire half that Towns could have just taken over. And everyone's like, oh, they were holding him out. He needs to force himself in there. He just needs to get the ball and be like, I'm posting you up.
So, and I hate regurgitating what the play-by-play guys were saying, but it has to be discussed on this pod. Cat was getting... So there were tons of switches. Houston switches everything.
Yeah.
And there were countless times. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm pretty sure dozens of times where, there was a switch and he had James Harden or Chris Paul on him.
Just an insane mismatch.
And instead of calling for the ball, kind of putting your back to the basket, calling for the ball, playing like a big man, he ran out to the 3-point line.
I don't know if it's just game one, first playoff game jitters, but I expect more of Towns than an 8-point, 12-rebound game.
I expect more of Thibs.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing? I mean, how is he not getting through to these players? You have so much youth on that team, and you never see it. I mean, you see it in the sense of poor decision-making, but you don't see it in the sense of, like, hustle, winning for, really going for the 50-50 balls, getting back on defense, running on offense. I mean, you're talking like a weird plodding pace of play.
And it's almost brings into question because everyone questions Wiggins' like drive to be great.
Right.
Like, does he have that passion? Does Cat have it? I'm starting to think like he's kind of laid back. He plays video games in his off time. Does he have this drive to be great? Like, you look at Anthony Davis, dominating, winning a game one that they probably shouldn't have won. I mean, the whole team effort, but I didn't expect the Timberwolves to win a game in the series.
No.
But this was the game.
If they were going to make this any sort of a series, it had to be game one when CP3 was really off his game. Harden was good. He was great in the fourth.
Yeah, he
was great in the fourth, but it wasn't like he was unstoppable from start to finish. I mean, I'm not trying. He had a great game. Don't get me wrong. But it's not as if he wasn't having an all-time great game.
The thing was watching the game, and I noticed Harden only sat 7 minutes. But those 7 minutes he sat just felt like a grind for the Rockets to score because they shot 27% from three, and Harden was 7 for 12. So that means the rest of the team hit a combined 3-pointers. That's not good.
No, that's not good.
Especially against a team that, I mean, you can put it up to the Timberwolves playing great perimeter defense, but you got Derrick Rose out there sometimes. You got Jamal Crawford out there. Come on. You should be hitting these threes.
Absolutely. And I don't like to read too much into game one of any series, especially a first round series where there's just so many variables. But
this is the number one team in the West.
Yeah, does this make you feel any different about the Rockets?
Yeah.
Or I mean, go ahead.
I got $100 on them going to the finals, so I really hope they get there. But come on. I think it's jitters. They'll work it out. It's just Chris Paul everyone needs to be better. Everyone except for James Harden and Capella. They're the only two guys that were just dominating.
Next up, OKC versus Utah. OKC with a big win. Game one, 116-108. Pretty much had it in hand the whole time. As a Thunder fan, I felt pretty confident.
There was a few spurts that it was a tied game, I believe. And I really enjoyed watching this. It's just the thing that showed the most, Utah doesn't have an offense outside of Donovan Mitchell. Ricky Rubio took 18 shots, and it just felt horrible every single time he had the ball. It was all layups and stuff. He wasn't taking really too many threes. He took 3 total, but when Donovan was sitting, it just was almost stagnant. And he's so good.
He is ridiculous. And I mean, we talked about it. Everyone's talked about it. How is this rookie going to perform in the playoffs when the entire weight of the Jazz offense is on his shoulders?
And this made me, we just talked about Towns maybe not having that drive.
Right.
They pulled Mitchell out of the game after putting him back in after his ankle injury when someone stepped on his foot and they think he, twisted a contusion, as everyone always calls everything now. But Donovan Mitchell was like, get me back in the game. They show him on the side.
Oh, I saw it. He was like,
get me in the game. I'm going to play in this game. I don't care if I'm hurt. I'm playing. And that's the drive I want to see out of my number one offensive option.
Absolutely.
That was that killer mentality, and I loved every second of it. But
I mean, on the Thunder side of it,
playoff P.
You got to love people giving themselves their own nicknames.
Which aren't even that good of nicknames.
No. I mean, Kobe Bryant, I feel like, started that, but the Black Mamba.
The Black Mamba, come on.
That's a killer nickname. I don't care if he gave it to himself. Plus he's Kobe Bryant. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's obviously proven that. But yeah, Paul George, wow. Maybe his best game as a Thunder.
Oh, easily. Just, he was taking threes with people in his face just I'm hitting this.
Yeah.
And I was like, Paul George, where have you been all year?
The team was playing with some swag, dude. I mean, absolutely. Westbrook, close to a triple-double. I know everyone likes to hate on his triple-doubles, but I don't. 29, 13, and 8. Really strong game. Played a lot of minutes like he always does. Melo showed up. I mean, not efficient. He's never efficient. But, 15 and 7. It's a respectable stat line for him at this point in his career.
Carmelo dropped 9 straight points on Yerbeco. It was just they went to him, they saw Yerbeco out there, and this is it. This is what Carmelo's going to do. And if they can find those types of mismatches in each series, they could go far in this playoffs, especially if Steph Curry doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Healthy Curry.
After watching this game, I will admit that I'm probably being prisoner of the moment. But I do feel better about OKC potentially making the Western Conference Finals.
I think it could be a good series.
I don't think it's probable, but I do think that they've got a puncher's chance to reach the finals. Western Conference.
Right. Because they would have to go through, so they're 4 or 5 seeds. They have to play they're playing the Rockets next series. That could be an intriguing James Harden versus Westbrook matchup.
Phenomenal.
A rematch from last year, and Westbrook's actually got a squad with him. I could see that being it could be a matchup. What did you think of Gobert and all of his fouls?
So this actually was probably the game that, while it was on in my house the entire time,
You weren't fully.
me being a dad kind of took precedent on this one, because it was post nap time, pre bedtime. So I was getting to check in a lot score wise,
Right.
but truth be told, I didn't get to fully absorb this game.
I'll fill you in. There was 2 fouls that he got. Was just him going into the paint when they're on offense and just pretty much pushing people out of the way like this.
Okay.
And they call it like you can't do that. So obviously, like, you can push a guy in, give him a little space for your teammates, but he was just straight up like, nope, out of the way. Like, Donovan Mitchell's coming in for a layup, and they're like, nah, you can't do that. He had a fantastic game. It was just those kind of fouls were just not what I wanted to see, especially when it's Steven Adams versus Gobert, who Gobert was just not letting Steven Adams do a single thing. It was fantastic. He got 12 points, but I want to see better play out of Gobert.
Okay, after seeing game 1, how many games do you expect this to go?
4.
Sweep.
I think it's going to be a sweep because I will say this with an asterisk: if Donovan Mitchell is not allowed to play.
Oh, if Mitchell's out, then it's absolutely a sweep. Even if Mitchell is substantially hindered in playing, it's a sweep. There's just no other offense.
There's just nothing, and I don't want Ricky Rubio taking 20 shots for my team.
No. All right, Portland versus New Orleans Pelicans. One of the best game ones. Maybe the best. Well, it didn't go to overtime. We'll get there.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
But, wow. Anthony Davis just being a man amongst boys. The Pelicans won 97-95. This was ridiculous. This was absolutely ridiculous. Davis finished with 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks.
He's just an animal. And there's, like we said during our playoff predictions, there's no one to stop this guy.
No.
Just no one in the league can just slow this man down. And that's the point, is we were like, okay, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum have to outscore him. Like, the combined 2 of them have to just put up. And they barely did. What did he get, 35? Yeah, the combined 2 of them got 37.
Is that correct math? 18 and 23?
No,
I'm sorry.
CJ
Yeah.
got 19.
19 and 18. Yeah, that's not great, dude. I mean, they didn't have awesome games. I mean, they shot 38.9% and 26.1%. CJ McCollum and Dame.
And that's pointing to the fact that Drew Holiday is really good on defense.
Yep.
For the people who don't watch New Orleans Pelicans game on the reg, I don't personally watch them on the reg. I love Anthony Davis, but I wanted the Portland to win this in 6.
That's what people don't get, is that, and it's kind of actually, it's a nice parallel, to tell you the truth, with the Philadelphia 76ers, in that they have a big man who's a beast on both ends of the floor. You know, he can score. He's a top tier, one of the top 3 defensive players in the entire league. Then they've also got another player in Drew Holiday or Ben Simmons for the Sixers that, again, can really get it done on the offensive side, but is fucking strong on defense too.
Just incredible.
So that really goes a long way when you have your 2 best players be two-way players.
It's fantastic. And then you got, the best player on the team, Rajon Rondo.
Oh, the Rondo love.
Rondo love
Here it
never
comes.
leaves. 17 assists, though. he orchestrates it. It's fantastic. I mean, this is only a 2-point win. I expect Portland to win tonight, but
I'm hyped for this game.
I'm really hyped for this game. I might have to get a Red Bull.
I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna have to drink a Red Bull. Have to take a Red Bull.
Take a Red Bull.
That's how I think of Red Bull. It's just like a drug. I'm gonna take a Red Bull. Wild out.
Well, because you can't take like an 8-ounce Red Bull. It's like you have to take a 12-ounce or above. But then they have those really big ones. I won't mess with those. So that's like heart stopping.
Bro, I blacked out on Red Bull last night. What even happened? So I know you still feel like Portland's going to win the series, right?
I mean, I really hope so. Although, no, I mean, this is the series in probably the entire playoffs where if either team wins, I don't care. Like, in a good way.
Sure.
I want to see either of these teams advance. I love Damian Lillard. I love CJ McCollum. But I really love Rajon Rondo.
I love going Anthony Davis. But no,
it's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is just a monster. And if they have to play the Warriors, that's going to be fun.
That would be phenomenal. Especially if Curry's not back. Just for the sake of it being a good series.
Even if Curry is back, like Drew Holiday on Curry.
Yeah.
When Curry's not 100%
Especially,
healthy.
if he's a little hobbled. Yep.
And then you're going to have Anthony Davis, or you're going to have, Anthony Davis and Mirotic, because they're only going to play their 5 players. Like, the Pelicans don't have a bench.
Mirotic had a nice game too, man. 16 and 11.
He's good. I didn't like last year that people were just like, just drop him. He's not worth anything. And now this year he was worth a first-round draft pick. And he's bringing this Pelicans team to maybe beating the 3 seed.
I'd love to see the Pelicans win because Anthony Davis, he's been on this pedestal ever since entering the league. He's just been that guy where, you ask the GMs, who would you start a team with? Most people say Anthony Davis, and rightfully so. And he's been saddled with subpar supporting casts for his entire career with lackluster ownership in a very B or C level kind of NBA city situation. I'd love to see the Brow make it.
I would love it. But I would also love Dame Time to make it.
This was my best bet of the first round so far. I took New Orleans Pelicans with the money line on this game. Came through. It cleared up a couple of my worst bets.
I haven't won a bet yet, but I'm probably going to make 3 tonight. So,
hey, if you don't bet, you can't win.
Exactly.
But then there's the whole losing.
Yeah, part. The losing part's not fun. Well, thank you for listening to this week's Sip and Swish podcast episode. We probably have another one coming at you on Thursday or Friday. It's the playoffs. We're going to hit you with probably 2 podcasts a week. So make sure you're hitting the subscribe button on whatever you listen to podcasts at, Podbean, Stitcher, Blueberry, all the kind of podcasts going on. Make sure you follow us to keep up with all of our podcasts hitting these weeks. Thank you so much for listening.